An achievement or trophy list can really say a lot about a game. Typically when I go to buy a new game, I will quite often look at the achievement or trophy list beforehand and sort of gauge my reaction about whether it's a game that I want to play. Maybe there's a bit too much grinding in it according to the trophies, maybe there's too much focus on the online aspect if it's a game that I don't really want to play online. And then quite often it does play a factor in whether I actually want to go ahead and buy that game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the trophy list for Resident Evil 2 Remake has been officially revealed, and the trophy list says a lot about the game, and I cannot wait to dive into it, so let's do it. Now the trophy list was leaked by a user by the name of Deftones Band. Now as you can see by the pictures on screen, this is actually the legit list. This is actually from his own PS4, so you can see that he's actually the real list and not just some fabricated one trying to create hype. And he's revealed all the trophies in the game, and it actually does say a lot about the game. Now a lot of the trophies do point to things that you'd expect in the game anyway, but there's a few things on there which none of us knew about, and it also confirms a few things that are going to definitely be in the game, which I'm super excited about. So let's dive straight into it. So I'm going to put each trophy on screen for you guys. I've got a text version of each trophy and we can talk about each one. Obviously this is going to be the same for PS4 and Xbox One as well as Steam. But first off, obviously we've got the Platinum Trophy for obtaining all the trophies. Very standard procedure in PlayStation games. And next up we've got Welcome to the City of the Dead. Make it to the police station. Obviously you're going to start off in the streets of Raccoon City, and obviously the main goal at the start of the game is to get over to the RPD. You do that in the original Resident Evil 2. Of course we're going to be doing it in this one also, so you get a trophy for that one as well. Next up is solve the goddess statue puzzle. Now this could be a new puzzle, but I believe it's either going to be the 2 jewel puzzle. In the original Resident Evil 2 you had to get the 2 red jewels and you had to put them in the statue. It's either going to be that one or it's going to be the unicorn medal puzzle, which gives you the spade key in the original Resident Evil 2. It could be either of them or it could be something brand new, but I can't remember which one was called a goddess, so it could be either of them, but time will tell. Next up, we've got Never Ending Rain, which is escape the police station. Whether that means Never Ending Rain, you've got to go back out into the rainy streets of Raccoon City, or whether it means going into the sewer, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there's a section after the police station before the sewer in the game. Obviously, the game has been expanded a bit. I know that it is meant to be like an orphanage now in the game that you go explore, so maybe you do go back out into the streets of Raccoon City, into brand new areas after the police station. Next up is Hack Complete, which is complete Ada's segment. Next up is Hide and Seek, which is complete Sherry's segment. Now I've grouped these two together because I don't know whether these are the short segments that you played in the original Resident Evil 2. Obviously Ada and Sherry both got helped over a wall through a ventilation thing. They had to go and get the club key, and then they couldn't get back out afterwards. I don't know whether maybe it's a section like that in the game where you take control of them for maybe 10-15 minutes and that's the only time that you play them, whether there is a whole section of the game, like a large section of the game dedicated to either character. I'm not entirely sure, but it does confirm that we are going to be playing as both Ada and Sherry in the game. There's already been footage of Ada as a playable character in the game, but now it definitely confirms that Sherry is also going to be playable in the game too. Next up is Escape from the Sewers. So that's obviously going from the sewers into the lab section of the game. So whether it means that we leave the police station straight into the sewers, or we go from the police station to somewhere like the orphanage, then down into the sewers and then the lab, I'm not entirely sure, but it confirms we are going to be in the sewer throughout some point of the game. Now next up is A Hero Emerges, which is completely on story, and also A Heroine Emerges, I think I'm saying that right, which is complete Claire's story. So obviously it's going to be 2 separate stories for each character in the game, like there is in the originals too. Whether there's going to be A and B scenarios, I'm not entirely sure. There's going to be sort of one scenario for each character. I imagine that's how it's going to be. It's going to be sort of Leon's story and then Claire's story as well. There's Broken Umbrella, which is Witness the True Ending. Obviously this means that there is a true ending for the game, and whether that happens after you beat both Leon and Claire's story, you get the final ending of the game, I'm not entirely sure. Or maybe it unlocks sort of the true story of the game. I don't know what it's going to be, but either way there's a true ending to the game which we have to get somehow, and obviously time will tell how we do it. We're going to figure it out at some point soon anyway, but yeah, there's a little bit of speculation there. It could mean a lot of different things. But next up is the basics of survival. Combine 2 items together. That could be as simple as combining 2 green herbs together. That would get you the achievement, or whether it means maybe like combining magnum parts or a magnum. It could mean a number of things, but I imagine it's going to be any 2 items together, so the 2 green herbs, red herb, green herb, etc. will be fine, and that will unlock the trophy. Next up is Hip to Add Squares, which is increase your inventory slot. Obviously in the original Resident Evil 2 you got the side pack, which allowed you to increase your inventory slots. Whether it's going to be just one thing like that, I'm not entirely sure, because it says hip to add squares, so obviously it's the hip pack, the side pack. So whether it's just maybe one instance of that, not entirely sure. It could mean that you can maybe upgrade your inventory a lot past just once, but time will tell. Next up is Customizer for customizing a weapon. This could mean something as simple as putting the Magnum parts in the Magnum, or it could mean that we could upgrade the weapon throughout the game. Much like the sort of Revelations, and I think it was Resident Evil 5 also had it in, maybe some other games as well, where you could sort of make the gun stronger, more attack, faster reload speeds, or whether, I don't know if it means something like that, which you can do maybe after a certain chapter or certain points in the game, or whether it is putting the Magnum parts with a Magnum to create a stronger Magnum. It could mean either of them, but either way, weapon customization is a thing in this game. Don't need no stinking gun. Defeat an enemy with a knife. Obviously, you're going to get the knife at the start of the game. Just kill one zombie or one enemy with it, and that will unlock the trophy. So a very, very easy one that we're bound to get at some point anyway. Eat this counter-attack with a sub-weapon. Obviously, in like the Resident Evil 1 remake, you had the stuff like the knives, and there was a few other ones as well, which subdued zombies or other enemies when they go to attack you. It looks like sub-weapons are making a comeback in Resident Evil 2 remake. Hopefully they get a little bit more creative with them. There's a lot of things they could do with them, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with this time around. Next up is That'll Hold 'em. Use wooden boards to board up a window. Whether this is a non-missable trophy, maybe it's part of the story, maybe zombies are going to attack the police station or attack a building, you've got to put some boards across it to protect yourself, or whether you can do this multiple times throughout the game, where maybe zombies will creep up on you from certain locations. You've got to sort of create protection all around you. So you walk through the police station and you can hear zombies outside, so you put wood up and that'll stop them. Like I said, it could be either or. But either way, the fact that we get to do stuff like this in the game is super, super cool. Next up is Vermin Extermination. Destroy a Mr. Raccoon. This sounds very much like a collectible item in the game. It sounds like there's going to be multiple Mr. Raccoons in the game. Maybe like a mascot for the Raccoon City like football team or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what the city actually had. But I'm assuming there's going to be little sort of like mascot like toys on like tables and stuff like that. You maybe got to destroy them with your knife or your gun. It sounds like it's going to be like a collectible trophy throughout the game. So obviously a very, very missable one in the game, one that we might have to get a guide for later on to try and figure out all the locations. Next up is a Vault Like Mind. Open a portable safe. And also next up is First Break In, which is open a dial safe. Obviously in Resident Evil 2 they did have a dial safe which gave you some shotgun shells and stuff like that in one of the rooms in the police station. Whether there's going to be multiple instances of safes across the game, and maybe the portable safe could be like similar to what you use for lockpick for on the tables. It could be like two types of safes. Whether there's going to be sort of one safe of each or multiple, we don't know, but either way there's going to be sort of like extra unlockable items in the safes in the game. Next up is Bon Appetit. Shoot the grenade you fed to an enemy. So this confirms grenades are going to be in the game. Whether you throw a grenade towards the enemy, then maybe shoot it, and that'll sort of blow it up quicker. I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe there's a special type of grenade that maybe you have to set off with a gun. Don't know, but either way, grenades are in the game, and that is going to be super, super cool. Next up is Zombie Roundup. Kill 3 enemies at once with a sub-weapon. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, could be like a grenade or something like that. Like Skeet Shooting. Shoot a zombie, dog, or a licker out of the air. So that's going to be quite a cool one to do. Probably quite easy to do, but one that's obviously going to take a little bit of coordination to get right. Keep their heads ringing. Paralyze a licker's sense of hearing. Obviously, lickers don't have eyes. They have to use their hearing to sense where you are. So I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of, maybe like a grenade type of thing, or maybe some sort of sub-weapon which stops lickers being able to hear you. So you got to do that, obviously, to avoid them. So that's really, really interesting. A really sort of cool thing that could go on in the game. It'd be very interesting to see what they've came up for that mechanic, and I'm definitely interested in checking it out. Next up is a really fun one. Hats Off. Shoot the tyrant's hat off his head. Obviously, in this version of the game, Mr. X wears like a Federer type of hat, and you've got to shoot it off. So obviously during one of the encounters, just sort of aim at his head, shoot his hat off. We've seen it in footage already that his hat can be shot off. So yeah, there's a trophy attached to that. Super, super cool. Next up is Gotcha. Defeat Stage 2 G using the crane only once. This obviously refers to one of the boss battles of William Birkin. Apparently use the crane. So whether a crane, you can maybe pick up stuff on the floor and drop it on them to deal damage or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But during the second stage of the G fight, only use it once to get this trophy. So yeah, that sort of shows that the boss battles in Resident Evil 2 Remake are going to be a lot different to what we saw in the original one over 20 years ago now. Next up is Treasure Hunter. Using the photo hints, find 2 items. So these could be like the films that you develop in the original Resident Evil 2. Maybe they're going to have hints on hidden items throughout the game. Maybe sort of going to be a picture of a certain room or a certain item or something like that. And it's basically you've got to go in and find that item. So that's super, super cool as well. Waste of space, expand inventory slots to max. So right, this sort of follow-ons from the, what was it called? The hip to add squares to increase your inventory slots. So clearly this shows that there is multiple ways to increase your inventory over time. And obviously maxing out your inventory, getting the most amount of space will get you that trophy. Next up is one slick super spy. Using only the EMF visualizer to complete Ada's gameplay segment. So right, this is really interesting. EMF is obviously electromagnetic field, so there's an EMF visualizer. So I don't know how this is, what it's actually going to be, and also what it's going to do in terms of Ada's gameplay segment. Obviously, Ada's segment's going to be quite short by the sound of it. And there's this item, whether it's maybe to track enemies or something like that, I don't know. But either way, the EMF visualizer is going to be in the game, and there's a trophy attached to it if you complete the segment just by using it. Really curious to see what this one's going to be like. Next up, we've got a Sherry related one, which is Young Escape. Escape the bedroom within 60 seconds during Sherry's segment. So whether Sherry gets kidnapped or something like that and taken to a certain room, like maybe the orphanage. Maybe she's trapped in the bedroom in the orphanage and she's got to escape it. I don't know. Maybe she starts out the game in the orphanage and then she escapes it, goes into the police station, and that's when she finds Claire. Who knows? Don't know how this one's going to play out, but either way, that hints at obviously something that Sherry's got to escape somewhere. So yeah, my speculation is maybe she starts off the story in the orphanage, she gets to the police station, meets Claire, and then the events of Resident Evil 2 take place. Next up is With Time to Spare. Defeat Stage 4G with 4+ minutes left until detonation. For the Stage 4G, I believe, is the last one that you face in the original game before the end of the game. Which obviously you've got 5 minutes till detonation during that battle. So whether it's maybe complete this battle in less than 60 seconds, or maybe the detonation has like 10 minutes in this game, and you've got to do it with 4 or more minutes to spare. Next up is In the Blink of an Eye, which is Defeat Super Time with 5+ minutes until detonation. So obviously that is Mr. X. So it must have at least sort of more than 5 minutes till detonation before you fight Mr. X. So maybe 10 minutes till detonation. Maybe you've got to do it fast with both of these enemies, so super cool. Law Explorer, read all the files, pretty self-explanatory in a Resident Evil game. Complete Vermin Extermination, destroy all Mr. Raccoon. So yeah, that is definitely a collectible aspect of the game. Master of Unlocking, open all the safes and locks in the game. So obviously the locks from stuff like the keys that you have to get in safes, like I said, it hinted at them earlier. So there must be multiple safes, both portable and what is it class it as? It was a portable and dial. There must be multiple of them in the game. So this is kind of hinting a lot more aspects of the game now. Leon S. Kennedy, complete Leon's story on standard or hardcore for an S rank. Obviously, S rank in the old games you had to complete under 2.5 hours using no saves and no first aid sprays. So you've got to do that with Leon and Sizzling Scarlet Hero, which is the same but this time for Claire. Hardcore Rookie, complete Leon's story on hardcore game mode. Hardcore College Student, complete Claire's story on hardcore game mode. Frugalist, complete the game without using the recovery items. That means no herbs or no sprays. Or it might just mean no sprays. It could mean herbs still. Don't know. Obviously, time will tell. Once someone starts to do these sort of runs, we'll figure out what the trophy is actually for. Minimalist, clear the game without opening the item box. This one is going to be a tricky one. To not open the item box, or obviously you need that to store items in. So basically, you've got to be really clever with your item inventory to make sure that you've always got space for items you need, and you're not carrying too much at any one time. You're not carrying too many heals. Obviously, you've pretty much got to make any healables from scratch, or you have to go and find them. If you sort of find there's a first aid spray somewhere, you've got to leave it until you need it because you haven't got the space. It's going to be really interesting to see how that one's going to work. That could be a very difficult trophy to get. A small carbon footprint, take 14,000 steps or fewer in one playthrough. So that means that you've really got to know where you're going. So this is kind of like the speedrun trophy of the game. Rather than being a specific time, you've got to do it in a certain distance. So basically, you can only go places where you know you need to go. Don't do any sort of filler stuff. Just get like pretty much a speedrun the game. Only go where you need to go. That's it. 14 steps or fewer isn't many steps, and it'd be exciting to see whether it can be done, how easy it can be done. Obviously, it can be done. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Probably a difficult one to do. And last but not least, this is my favourite trophy of the game because it confirms one awesome piece of information, and that is Grim Reaper. Complete the 4th Survivor extra mode. Obviously, in the original Resident Evil 2, 4th Survivor was their Hunk story. Hunk had to escape after being attacked by William Birkin in the sewers. He had to escape to the Raccoon City Police Department to get rescued. And it does confirm 100% that the 4th Survivor and Hunk is making a return in the Resident Evil 2 remake. People have been hoping this is going to happen. People have been speculating for months that Hunk will be in this game. Whether the 4th Survivor will be in the game, whether it will be DLC. And this officially confirms that the 4th Survivor will not be DLC, and it will be in the game from the start, which is super, super cool. So that is all of the trophies in the game. That gives a lot of insight about what Resident Evil 2 Remake holds for us in just a few short weeks. Overall, the trophy list is pretty cool. There's a few collectible ones, which I'm not a big fan of collectibles like the Mr. Raccoons. Not a big fan of them, but it kind of is what it is. It also shows that we can increase the inventory a lot more than what we originally get. It also means there's a lot of unlockables in the game as well. Really interesting to sort of see what these Ada and Sherry segments are going to be, whether it's going to be a single segment or whether it's going to sort of be them not throughout the course of a story where they already know Leon and Claire. Maybe it's their journey up until this point. I don't know. But it's going to be very, very interesting to sort of find out, and I could not wait for this game to come out. There's new areas, there's new modes, there's new items, everything. This game is going to be super, super cool, and I am so hyped for it. It's only January 2019, and I've got a feeling that Resident Evil 2 Remake will be my 2019 Game of the Year, and I'm so hyped for it. And I hope you guys are just as hyped as I am. If you are, make sure you give this video a big fat thumbs up. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe and notifications on. Click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and click all. That way you'll never miss out when a video goes live on the channel, including the Resident Evil 2 Remake playthrough that I'll be doing on the channel. And if you're too hyped for the remake, I'm also doing an original Resident Evil 2 All 4 scenario playthrough on the channel right now. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go and check it out on the channel and subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss out on future videos. My name is Doodles. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in Raccoon City.